Most high performers love the idea of getting in shape, but then reality kicks in. You're leading a business, you're traveling, you're trying to be a present father, partner, and your days are, I would say, quite unpredictable, which means they can be quite chaotic. And here's the truth that no one's telling you. If your days are chaotic, then your training system has to be built for chaos. Not the version of you 10 years ago who had time, he could have a strict routine, he had a lot less responsibility. And here's a quick story. About 9 months ago, I got away for a short break to Spain with a family, and it was day one of the holiday. I remember this vividly. So my son will have been 5 months old. And just to take a back step, back home the business was moving fast. I was up at 5 a.m, closing call sessions at 7:30 p.m. And I'll be honest with you, I was frazzled. And I remember looking in the mirror that day and just saying, you look tired. And I just knew the plan and the routine that I was following wasn't built for the man I was anymore, and the seasons and cycles that I was stepping into. And it was in that moment that I realized I didn't need a better routine. I needed a system that was going to suit the current life path that I was on. A system that was built for chaos, for less sleep, for parent responsibility, for more stress. Because here's the real problem. Most men try to squeeze the perfect fitness routine into an imperfect lifestyle, and then they end up beating themselves up when things fall apart. And here's the thing, most high performing guys, they don't fail because of lack of discipline. They fail because the current structure and the framework that they're following doesn't actually suit the lifestyle that they live. And this is why I've built something called Chaos Proof Protocols, which is a simple framework for staying in shape when your calendar's unpredictable. Travel's going to knock you off, your kids are waking you up at 3 a.m, your business is pulling you from pillar to post, because the real currency that you're running out of isn't time, it's energy. Protocol number 1, your minimum standard training session. Okay, now let me tell you, this one rule alone has saved more CEOs than anything else I teach. So your training, which is your minimum standard, equals 10 to 20 minutes as a non-negotiable. It's not 1 hour, it's not 6 days a week. We need to get away from that all or nothing mindset. It's quite literally squat, push, pull, core, sweat, done. That is it. Because consistency is built through identity, not intensity. Protocol number 2, your travel rule. Now, if you're a guy who travels a lot like the majority of my clients do, here's a simple system for you to stay on track while you're traveling. So day 1, we call this one the reset. So no training, you're just going to land, do a little bit of breath work, settle in and relax. Day 2, this is your identity session, so a non-negotiable. So no matter what, you go in there and do 10 to 20 minutes as your minimum standard. Day 3, we call this one momentum. This is where we can start to add a little bit more intensity and a little bit more volume, because here's the thing, most guys lose progress because they're trying to cram in or even abandon their home fitness routine into their travel life, and it just fails because you win by lowering the bar, not removing it. Protocol number 3, strategy Sundays. So every weekend, I ask my clients to spend 10 to 15 minutes planning their week. So training, food, sleep, stress management, recovery, and non-negotiables. Now, this single habit alone reduces 90% of decision fatigue, which is quite literally the number one thing that ruins routines. But here's the thing, these protocols, they only work when you're intentional about showing up as your best self. And you've got to show up as your best self for your family, for your business. And I've always got a couple of stories in mind. Like one of my guys was a busy founder. When he first started with me, this guy travels a lot. The first few times, 2 or 3 times, he'd always fall off. And he'd feel guilty, he'd overwhelmed, scattered. I wouldn't speak to him for a few days. But then when we put the travel proof protocols in place, so for example, his minimum standard, his travel rule, his Power 5 check-ins, this guy literally over a 5-month period, he lost 10 kilos, confidence went through the roof, so he had so much more energy. And I remember him saying to me, I finally feel like the guy that my business and my family deserve. And another guy, a city banker, who traveled back and forth from Singapore, he'd had a decade of the all or nothing mindset. He had previous burnout, his cortisol levels were through the roof, and it was always, I'll start again Monday. And literally within 4 to 5 weeks of the travel proof protocols that we put in place with him, for the first time in a decade, he had consistency. even during like 8-hour work weeks, because like I said, it's all about identity, shifting who we think and believe we are, because identity beats intensity all day, every day, and twice on a Sunday. Because here's the truth, you don't actually need more time. There's men out there with far less time, more pressure, more stress, more responsibility, that are 10 years older than you, and they're in incredible shape. What you need is, you need more capacity. And capacity is created by energy, and energy is created by systems. Okay, systems, not motivation. Okay, and this brings me back to James Clear's quote: every action you take is a vote for the man you wish to become. And that man who turns up for himself, for his minimum standard, which is 10 to 20 minutes, he wins. You know, why does he win? Because he's the man who's acting from identity, not emotion. Moving into the final two protocols, we've got protocol 4, which is the Power 5, daily check-in. Now, these 5 things keep any high performer in shape and on track anywhere in the world. We've got number 1, sleep, hydration, movement, protein, and presence. Now, miss these and energy quite literally collapses. Hit these and your capacity rises. And then we've got protocol number 5, the 72-hour rule. Now, life's going to get in the way and you're going to get knocked off, and that's totally fine. But we never disappear for more than 3 days. We reset, we reconnect, and we rebuild momentum. This rule alone has saved so many of my guys, especially when they're traveling, from falling into that trap of, I'll start again next month. If you're a high-performing man who's built professional success, you built business success, but you feel your body, energy, and presence is lagging, then I've built this free playbook that walks you through these protocols in great detail. It's literally the same system I use with entrepreneurs, founders, execs, and elite professionals who want to get in shape without sacrificing their business and their family life. It's simple, it's practical, and it's chaos proof. So hit the link below, download your free playbook, start building that energy, capacity, and presence for the next chapter of your life. Let's switch on.